It's the Mustang Insider Show presented by Cal Portland, the largest building materials company of cement and construction material products on the West Coast. Now, here's Chris Sylvester, the voice of the Mustangs.
Welcome to another edition of the Mustang Insider. It is Cal Poly Athletics. It's the start of a brand new year, the 2021-2022 athletic year. And if one thing's for certain, I think we're all kind of hoping it's a little more normal than what college athletics was the past year. And with the normalcy comes the return of a lot of sports. We had the women's soccer team open up their campaign this past weekend. Men's soccer, women's volleyball, cross country, they're going to get going soon. And joining me here on the first episode of the new athletic year, it is Cal Poly assistant coach of the women's volleyball program, Jason Borchin, taking some time out of his busy schedule here on opening week. Coach, I'm saying opening week. Does it feel real?
Not quite. It's feeling a little more real now that we're, scouting our opponents and everything like that. But it's been a long road to get here, and we're very excited to get going here on Friday.
Yeah, Friday is that day. It is the 27th of August. 629 days in between matches once we get going on Friday. And you get tested right off the bat, taking on 13th ranked Louisville and Arizona State at the Sun Devil Volleyball Classic in Tempe. So, there's so many things to catch up on since it's been such a long time since you guys were out there against another opponent. But what's this summer training camp been like for your team and you guys as coaches as you get ready to tackle a full regular season schedule again, knowing that a lot of these teams did it just a few months ago this past spring?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is just finding a rhythm. We have a lot of new kids. We brought in 7 freshmen, and then not on top of the 2020 freshmen that haven't had a collegiate season. So, almost about 70% of our team has never even gone through a double days training camp. So I think a lot of it for us was just kind of finding a rhythm. It's also one of the deepest rosters we've had. There's been a ton of competition in every position. So it's been a lot of fun to see those battles kind of take place. And I think just trying to gel as a team and kind of get back in the groove of things. Like you said, it's been a very long time since we've gone through this. So it's just trying to get that rhythm back for us.
Anytime you're a mid-major program, doesn't really matter what the sport is. When you're able to build something, you want to keep retooling, not necessarily rebuilding and having down years. And since Caroline Walters took over at the helm, you guys have just continued that success. 3 straight postseason appearances the last 3 seasons that you played, 17, 18, 19. Obviously, it was such a disappointment to hear that you weren't able to participate in a 2020-2021 season like a lot of other Division I programs. But how do you kind of sustain that momentum and make it feel like, hey, we are a program that's been to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. We picked up a victory in the NCAA tournament last time we were there. How do you sustain that when you go up against some of these programs that haven't had such a long layover in between games, in between seasons?
No, it's a great question. I think for us, we always want to be kind of the underdog playing with the chip on our shoulder. And this is just another chip on our shoulder that all these other teams that we're going to play have played, especially in the spring, which, for volleyball is very unusual. So they've played and, no one's going to feel bad for us. But, we're using this as motivation to come out and really take advantage of this moment because we've learned you never know what's going to happen in the world. Things can get taken away, a season can get taken away. And so we just want to cherish the moments that we have in the gym. And we've been training very hard to get ready for Friday. And like you said, play a very tough Louisville team. So we're very excited to hit the ground running.
Yeah, for fans that have been out of touch, there will be some familiar faces on this 2021 roster. 8 returners, but 13 newcomers. Tell us a little bit about some of those fresh faces, those new names that Cal Poly fans are going to get familiar with right off the bat here in Tempe this weekend.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a battle in the gym with playing time, and just trying to get a lot of new faces in. One of our transfers, Tommy Stockham, who just came from Indiana, I think you'll see a good mix of her on the outside. Libero Peyton Dueck has, she's been battling in that libero spot with her and Leah Unger, who's been a great defensive kind of key cornerstone for us. And then kind of out of the middle, it's been Kate Slack and Kira Kellerman that have really been battling. So it's been great. We were in running 6s the other day in the gym and, we had kind of the A side and all of a sudden we looked on the other side and it was 6 freshmen playing over there and just battling with all the upperclassmen. So it's great competition in the gym. You'll see a lot of new faces for us this year, which is a great thing, and I think makes us, that much more excited about the future of where this program's going. And we have a lot of young talent in the gym.
Couple of returning Big West first teamers from 2019, Meredith Phillips, Avalon Denekeshe. They were an integral part of that success in the 2019 trip to the postseason. It feels like forever ago, and it really has kind of been forever ago since you guys were on the floor. But I just remember the excitement up at Maples Pavilion in Palo Alto when you came back down 2-0 against Georgia to advance on. And there's really no shame in losing to that Stanford team that went on to win the national championship. That moment feels like 2 years ago, and it almost was 2 years ago. And so how are you going to rely on some of these newcomers to kind of teach us, rather, how are you going to rely on some of these returners to teach some of these newcomers the winning tradition that you guys have been able to build at Cal Poly the last 3-4 years?
Yeah, I think, all of our returners do a great job of having a very high standard of what this program stands for with the community and, with the school and what we want to accomplish. And so, through the recruiting process, that's something we definitely talk about. The returners did a great job over summer of addressing that. And that's something that we talk about is how can we always elevate this program and give more to our teammates and to the program to elevate it. And, we talk about that match, still just kind of the resolve that team had. And there's going to be hard times. And can we just trust our training, trust in one another? So when you get in those moments that you do feel confident, that you can come back from an 0-2 against Georgia in the first round tournament. And, that group was definitely special. And I think a lot of that has carried over to this group. They have a lot of fight in them, and we're excited to see that on the court here.
Cal Poly volleyball assistant coach Jason Borchin joining us before the Mustangs get ready to take off to Tempe to open up their 2021 season at the Sun Devil Classic there at Arizona State. And you mentioned being ready for anything. And obviously, if anything has been taught to you guys over the last couple of years, it's been patience. And Maya Dvoracek, your All-American first team All-Big West selection in 2019, she's going to miss the 2021 season with the knee injury she suffered back in the spring. How much did the 2019 waiting around for Tori Van Winden kind of help you guys prepare for this season without Maya in 2021? It was as if the entire fan base was wondering where Van Winden was all of that 2019 year, but that group got better and dealt with that adversity in a really positive way. So how do you try and put that same type of spin on this 2021 season without Maya Dvoracek?
Yeah, it's kind of the bad luck for us. It's like the last year's returning All-American hasn't been able to play, the next year. But I think what that has taught us is that every person on our roster matters. We got to train them. We have to get them all ready. You talked about that 2019 squad. Every active player on that roster played for us that year and in big moments. And so we kind of learned you never know when your number is going to get called. And are you ready for that moment? And Maya's a great story of that. She didn't play for 2 years, and all of a sudden she burst on the scene, and she trusted her training and her hard work in the gym to make her ready for that moment. So that's something we talk about a lot, is being ready for your moment, because it will come. Unfortunately, injuries do happen, and the next girl up has got to be ready to step in there. And so it's just taught us to develop our whole roster and to trust in everyone, because you never know what's going to happen. And Maya's making a great recovery. We're excited for 2022. We'll get her back, but we got some good young talent that's ready to take on the challenge.
The long layover in between seasons. So what type of concern does that maybe bring up when you're going up against some of these teams that just played this past spring and participated in the postseason and got a little bit better in the spring against other competition, while you guys were kind of busy with the inter squads and the conditioning and everything you're able to do just together? And maybe what are some advantages for you guys coming off of a long break, being, I'd imagine, well rested and ready to tackle a full campaign, while maybe some of these other teams, midway and 3/4 of the way through the season are really going to feel the fact that they didn't get their normal recovery time during what would have been a regular off season?
Yeah, it's, I think probably the biggest disadvantage is we just haven't played in so long. So that match day feeling and in-game experiences, obviously we try to replicate it as much as we can in practice. We just had our inter squad scrimmage on Saturday, but it's really tough to get that game-like feeling. So that's probably going to be the biggest thing, is handling our nerves and how quickly can we settle into the match and just get back into that routine of a match schedule is probably going to be one of the biggest challenges for us. That's something we're going to be talking about a lot this first weekend. And then on the flip side, we haven't played in so long, so I think no one really knows what we're going to look like in a lot of areas. So that's kind of an advantage for us, and hopefully, we can use that advantage against Louisville, since we have some more recent film on them and they haven't seen us play in a while. So definitely some advantages and definitely disadvantages. And I just hope that we can settle in quickly, because we are playing a very good Louisville team.
Playing a very good Louisville team off the bat, playing a very tough non-conference schedule. And to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Yep.
This helps with resume. This helps with the exposure of the program. This helps with the conference's reputation. Let's not forget there were 3 Big West teams that went to the postseason back in 2019. You guys, Hawaii, and I believe UC Santa Barbara, if I'm not mistaken, was that 3rd team that got a postseason invite in 2019. But you look at the schedule, it's 13th ranked Louisville off the bat. You get a Pac-12 foe later that day in Arizona State. They're hosting that tournament. Then a matchup on Saturday against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Then Texas A&M comes here for the home opener on Wednesday, and we certainly hope that's a big, rocking, noisy Mott Athletic Center on Wednesday. That's obviously a very big advantage to you guys, and that's something I want to touch on here in just a moment. But San Diego's another really good mid-major program out of the WCC. They showed some flashes this past spring. You're going to play in a tournament out in Salt Lake City. Utah's in that as well. You got Washington and Pepperdine and Malibu. You participated in that same tournament back in 2019, a home and home with LMU. And then you get into the gauntlet of the Big West Conference with home and away against everybody that has women's volleyball. So when you look at this schedule compared to maybe some of your other ones at Cal Poly, where do you rank how tough this one is?
It's definitely up there. It's definitely one of the toughest preseasons we've put together. Something we talk a lot about is playing our best in December and getting in matches that will prepare us for those matches. When we played at Georgia in the first round or a Stanford in the second, we want the girls to feel comfortable. And I believe it was 2017 we left the preseason like 11-1 and 12-0, and we just didn't really get that much better. And we want to test our girls, and we're okay taking some losses, playing some good teams. It's just going to make us better for conference. And so that's just the mainly goal is one, RPI is to always play against some of the best to help our RPI in case we don't win conference, so we can still get that at-large bid like we did in 2019. But we want to test the girls, so they know that. We put it to them every year. As soon as we get them, we tell them, Washington made the Final Four, and Arizona State beat Washington in the spring. So they're a very talented team. So we're getting tested right out of the gate, and it's something that we want and expect. And we did that a little bit in 19. We played some tough teams, and it made us better towards the end of preseason and going into conference. So that's definitely our goal with our preseason schedule.
Hey, I mentioned those 3 bids last time the Big West had a volleyball season in 2019. I know you guys are so focused on yourself and your upcoming non-conference schedule, but I know you do keep an eye on what other teams in the conference do. So the strength of the conference was at an all-time high in 2019. What are you expecting from the Big West Conference in this sport in 2021?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little different. I think a couple kids have graduated, injury to Maya, just things like that. But, Hawaii's going to be very good. We'll obviously be very competitive. Santa Barbara, Long Beach State. It's going to be very competitive, and it's just going to be interesting to see how teams settle in and, who's coming back and who didn't. But it still should be a very competitive conference, especially in that top half. So we're definitely excited for the conference schedule.
And I know nobody likes to see the at Cal Poly and San Luis Obispo on their side of the schedule. You guys have won 32 consecutive home matches. That's the longest active home winning streak still in Division I volleyball. You thought maybe somebody would go on a run in the spring to try and get close to that or top it, but all it did was give you guys an opportunity to continue to boast that home winning streak. And while that isn't as important as getting back to the postseason or maybe picking up some signature non-conference wins at neutral sites or on the road, when Texas A&M comes here next Wednesday, I don't know if they know what they're in store for with what Mott Magic is all about.
I know it's man, I get goosebumps when you're just talking about Mott Magic, and it means a lot to us. And, just the support that we get from the community, and it is a bummer that students will be in session, because I think something special about this gym is we get a lot of students. They're rowdy, they're loud, they're into it, but I know the community will come out and support us. We're going to play a very good Texas A&M team. That home winning streak is a very cool record, something we never tried to do. But we're not afraid of it. We want to play the best in here because we know how tough it is to play in Mott. And so we want to make sure we're getting the best teams here as best as we can.
You mentioned that student support, that community support. Only Stanford in the state of California averages a higher attendance figure than you guys do at Cal Poly there in Mott Gym, which by no means is biggest capacity wise in California. There are a lot of Pac-12, Mountain West, even Big West programs that play in larger venues, but the fans are always out to support. I'd imagine they will be there in support on Wednesday. You guys get to kind of raise that 2019 NCAA tournament appearance, add that to the banner, and then try to keep that winning streak going. Before I let you go, Coach, give me some keys to an upset against 13th ranked Louisville on Friday morning.
Yeah, they're a dynamic team. They can hurt you from any position. So we got to serve tough. We got to get them off the net. Will be a big key for us. And how quickly can we settle in on serve receive so we can run our offense at an effective level. So we're excited for the challenge. The girls are ready. We've had a great training camp. Like I said, they've been getting it after every day. So we're definitely very excited to get on the road here on Thursday and get ready for that match on Friday.
Jason Borchin, Cal Poly volleyball assistant coach, joining us on the Mustang Insider. Coach, safe travels to Tempe, and I hope you come home with a couple of wins in your pocket.
Me too. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Busy times for Cal Poly fall sports as they kick off their first seasons in quite a while. Many of them didn't participate at all that last athletic year. Big comeback campaign in store for Cal Poly volleyball. We mentioned the soccer programs. Football is going to get hopefully a full season under their belt as well. And you can't forget the great job that Mark Conover has done with cross country. We have to thank our sponsors. They make this all possible. AM Sun Solar. If you're worried about rising PG&E rates, go solar and pay less on your monthly bills. From seamless installs to custom financing solutions, the experts at AM Sun Solar do it all. Visit amsunsolar.com. AM Sun Solar, your local solar experts. And of course, always, we appreciate the support from Dignity Health, offering all-star treatment you can trust. To learn more about their healthcare services, visit dignityhealth.org/Central Coast. Stay locked. Cal Poly Athletics on YouTube. We're going to try and pump these out weekly throughout the 2021-2022 year. Ride high, go Mustangs, and we'll catch you next time on the Mustang Insider from Learfield.
This has been the Mustang Insider Show, presented by Cal Portland, with a commitment to environmental leadership that has made the organization stronger and is the primary choice of contractors. The Mustang Insider Show. The preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation of the Cal Poly Sports Network.